Welcome back, everybody, to another CIRF report. This one might as well be part two of the breakthrough that we just went through in the previous week after the post-eclipse energy. This one mainly called Deliverance, and we're going to get into a summary slide. But basically, eclipse season's over. I know a lot of my clients are having a hard time sleeping, or they were right around that eclipse time. I was having some problems sleeping, kind of up and down recently. And so if, I don't know, I wouldn't be mentioning it if there wasn't a bunch of other people that I work with that are having that same problem. So the energy is kind of chaotic, and we're going to get into some deliverance energy. So we have the summary slide. Now the congruence, this is a subjective score for those of you who are wondering. It's not derived mathematically. It's, in my opinion, there's probably a little bit more overlap here than I'm indicating, but I'm being on the conservative side because what we have is the dream bot, or the collective unconscious. The collective dreams are showing an undeniable power forward. The I-Ching reading, which we did for this week, is I-Ching 40, which is called Deliverance. There was only one change line, which means that the energy between the influence and the solution to that influence is very small, and we'll get into what all that means. Don't worry if you don't understand that yet. And then the astrology, this is the purple circle, the big circle. It's basically the overall view of the week in general is more like a stable fire energy. Starting on Monday, we've got the sun entering Leo. Then we have a Grand Fire Trine. And that is not with the sun included in that Grand Fire Trine, by the way. You might have a few emotional obstacles in the middle of the week, but it's fairly freewheeling thereafter. So let's go ahead and break all this down, and we're going to start with the dream bot. We're going to keep the summary slide off to the right-hand side so you can kind of keep an eye on. I don't ask for you to agree with me. Maybe you see a little bit more overlap. Maybe you don't see as much overlap as what I have indicated here, and that's fine. So the collective unconscious is indicated with the collective dreams, and we have the red arrows. I want to highlight for you in this green box here, the linguistic set that says power ahead. And I couldn't say it any better than what the collective dreams do. It's just power, it's yang, it's fire. Hey, everybody, ammunition is back. 3 is back, and that's why I hypothesize that the collective might still be seeing World War III, 3 eyes together like that. General being the lead of military campaigns. So, and the collective might be conflicted, but yet again, there's a lot of fire there, and that's indicated in the astrology. So the red arrows are power forward yang. And the black arrows is really kind of judgmental. We're not strangers to these words. These words keep coming up frequently, but words like excellent, poor, true, false, moderate, normal, even. These are all judgments. And so, and then just these 3 words here: predictive, picture, and noticed. It's awareness. And so we're aware of the power to move forward, but we are tending to be very judgmental currently. All right, with that, let's go look at the astrology and see if we've got some overlaps. We're going to break down each day so you can get a great idea for what this energy looks like each and every day. Monday, we still have that leftover from 2 gaggles of planets on both sides, north and south node, but we're getting to the edge of that influence, and especially as the sun goes into Leo, this whole energy, this opposition, Pluto, Saturn, Mercury, Venus, and Sun, that's going to start to wash away in favor of these other alignments. Namely, I already mentioned the sun in Leo, and Leo being wanting to be free and creative and entertained and fun. And so it's a fire energy. So it's very much yang, very yang, but it's more on the lines of having fun than it is being all serious and getting stuff done. But at least we have some of that fire energy to get us through that final breakthrough that we've been waiting for last week, post-eclipse. And here's the other one that's going to be developing all week. Oh, let me get the, I'm sorry, I should have had this focus thing up earlier. But Mars making a trine over to Jupiter. Now, this is not exact. This is going to go exact much later in the week, but it's developing. And it's within what's called the orb. So there's a number of angle that is allowable to be called a trine, and this is within that orb. And Mars is, the warrior, so conflicted, wants to get stuff done, wants to move forward. That's great for us. That matches what the sun in going into Leo is all about, and the fire energy. And Jupiter, who is retrograde, is about excess and abundance. And so you put those together, I'm excessively moving forward. That's where the collective unconscious is currently, by the way. And so you've got a double whammy happening with the sun going into Leo, Mars entering into a trine with Jupiter. And then you've got some others, but with the moon, that's transits very, very quickly. It's a trine over to the sun, and so this is very well balanced. We were worried about some balance issues with this opposition. Oppositions normally are a need for some sort of a balance, and we covered all that last time. So if you're interested in that, look up the last video. But this confirms that the balance is no longer a problem. Okay, so but it is a delicate balance. And let's move on to Tuesday. This is where we see the Grand Fire Trine. Now it's the moon again, so it's transiting fairly fast, and it starts at, well, I mean, it's already started with this trine at the bottom, which I already mentioned, but the moon makes the other two trines, which makes it a Grand Fire Trine. You notice all these are in fire signs: moon in Aries, Jupiter in Sag, and Mars in Leo. And so this, we can tend to be more passionate, ardent, wanting to move forward, maybe anxious even, maybe even irritable. But it's probably not too irritable. This is a Grand Fire Trine. Trines are easy. And so emotionally, it's fairly clear what I need to be moving forward in. And it's probably more of a deliverance feel, a transition feel, rather than I've got to get something done. So it's not like a pressure to get something done. It's more of with this trine, the energy there is a lot easier. It's an easier energy. Now, unfortunately, the moon also makes a square over to Saturn. And so emotionally, this could kind of put a halt on the whole moving forward thing, because Saturn provides restriction. So there we go again. We're just out of the woods, and then moon had to make a square to Saturn. That's in the afternoon. The fire energy is much more predominant, especially with the sun freshly into Leo. And so I wouldn't worry too much about this square, although if there is, I would take note of it and let me know that you're feeling this limitation with Saturn. It's going to be an emotional limitation, because the moon is the emotional response, and Saturn is restriction, obstacles. I mean, the square here is an obstacle. So just check that out. I think the energy is more commensurate with moving forward, moving contently into, or I mean, probably past that breakthrough energy. It's more of a relief energy. Now, Wednesday is probably just going to be the biggest challenge for most of us, but it's not all bad. I mean, it's just the moon making all these different squares. She's got 3 squares over here as she hits Mercury, Venus, and the sun, and then also Pluto on Wednesday. So emotions, that's the moon, can become our obstacles. We get really wrapped up in ourselves, or all these obstacles out here, out in the real world, create emotional responses from us. So regardless, just watch out for that. But the big news here is that the Mercury in retrograde is going to be hitting Venus. And, this really makes it prominent to where our relationships, our really close relationships are more about what we're thinking about. And it's in Cancer, tropical Cancer. So it's much more nurturing, that kind of thing. Keep in mind, Mars and Jupiter making a stronger and stronger trine as we go along. Now let's go to, Thursday, skipped it. This is where the Mars trine Jupiter goes exact, 8:23 a.m. And it's going to be a pretty powerful day because you've got Moon conjunct Uranus. Uranus is going to be very insightful, emotionally insightful, but also change. And it's really disruptive changes, very sudden and disruptive. In this case, it's just very prominent. There's some emotional change or something, some change that produces an emotional response in you, and probably, hopefully, going to be somewhat associated with this easy moving forward, easy, having fun, even for those of, depending on your personal charts, your natal charts, and how your houses align with what's happening here. But nonetheless, it should be a very content day. The power to change is here. This is your power, the fire energy, and the emotional response of change and adaptability is great on Thursday. So expecting or even making some powerful changes in your life is warranted. And we'll get into the I-Ching because this is right when we make this transition to powerful moving forward energy. Friday, we've got some easy trines between the moon, emotional response, and Pluto, which is the planet of transformation and power and control. And then you've got a trine over to Saturn, Saturn being quite the opposite, though, limitation and restriction. But it's a trine. So it's easy energy. It's, you can roll with it. Maybe not even see these limitations as limitations. The way that they're laid out, and always for your best good. Always for your best good, right? And of course, this energy still here, Mars and Jupiter still there, although not exact. So emotions ease on Friday. And then Saturday, we have opportunity because sextile, these same three that we had squares earlier, moons sextile your thoughts. So thoughts become opportunities, and they're probably thoughts about the past, which are Mercury retrograde, thoughts about your closest relationships, emotions around your thoughts, emotions around your closest relationships. And then the moon makes a sextile to the sun. Everything is easy there, opportunity and understanding. And then on Sunday, the moon's going to make a quick opposition over to Jupiter. That's probably the bigger of the two, but they both are connected. Both in the morning. You wake up Sunday morning, and if you're feeling this energy, it's going to be either emotional excess or there's some sort of need for balance in your life to work out this emotional chaos versus the excess. So you might be diving into, excessive food or excessive sex or excessive whatever emotionally. And that's a need for balance. And when that happens, then later you're going to have some squares over to Neptune. And Neptune's kind of tricky. It can produce some fantasies, can produce some, some thoughts that aren't real. So you have to do some reality testing, and this is going to affect your emotions. Are really hard to determine or can be hard to determine if it's based in reality or not. And the first problem is just being aware of the emotion itself. So that's going to be your challenge midday on Sunday, is to be emotionally aware and cognitively aware. So you see where your mind is, see if it's daydreaming a lot. It probably will be. All right, it's time to take the focus off, and let's go into the I-Ching reading, because this will put it all together. I think you're really going to appreciate this. This is the I-Ching reading we did for the whole week, and we want to know what the biggest energy is affecting all of us, or the probability, the biggest probability energy that all of us have a chance to feel. And then if there is a second hexagram, we stated that we would like this one to be the solution to the original hexagram. So these lines that were cast had one change line, change 3. We're going to get into that. That's actually right here. The calculated mode in Deliverance to avoid attracting the attention of negative forces. I suppose it'd be easier to start with the actual hexagram, which is 40, and it's called Deliverance. The point of transition between struggle and liberation. This is exactly where we left off from last week. It's so cool. We're still in that point of transition. So last week was about the real breakthrough and how to break through and patiently waiting. And this is it. So we're the actual influence, the main energy for this week is the transition. We're going to be in a transition from struggling, which a lot of my clients and even I have been experiencing, and liberation. That liberation probably equates to the Leo energy, the fire trine, etc., and the harmonizing of the emotions. But change line 3, what do you make of that? The calculated mode in Deliverance to avoid attracting attention of negative forces. What we do maybe is be a little bit too prideful when things start going right. And then the I-Ching, the Book of Changes talks about how that actually attracts negative forces or people who want to steal what you have just gained. And even in this case, it's just contentment. And so if you're being too prideful with it, it can be stolen from you. And so humility. Line 3, and this one's in the Rave I-Ching book. Humility, a calculated mode in Deliverance to avoid attracting the attention of negative forces. And we look at Mars in detriment, which luckily it's not, but it's the ego arrogance that demands attention and gets it. The capacity of the ego to demand attention. Remember, if you're feeling the influence of Deliverance and you're feeling the relief from this particular energy, don't make a big to-do about it. You don't need to be telling everybody else, finally, I'm free, or I'm liberated, or I feel content now, finally, and being all prideful about it. It's just know that it's happening, and that's it. It's just still in that keeping still. So last week, the influence was keeping still. We're still noticing the differences of energy, but not really articulating it, or at least not pridefully seeking attention from it. I had a dream. It was actually last night. It was this very thing. And I had my goods were stolen from me. And so this I-Ching reading made a lot of sense. I couldn't believe it. It made the dream really seem like a message to me. And I was basically tricked by some I don't know, not hobos and not homeless people, but I can't quite articulate what kind of people they were there, but they were working in connection with each other. And so I was walking toward the one to help out, or at least get clarification, and then the other one stole the 2 laptops for some reason behind me in a bag. And I had to be good with it, and I was good with it. I wasn't angry, or just I'm feeling, I dreamed about this actual I-Ching reading. Okay. That was the only point. And then the Rave I-Ching also talks about line 3, the subtlety to enjoy Deliverance without having to flaunt it. Period. And that's it. Okay. And then we go to the next solution. When you put in the change line 3, you get 32, duration. The only thing that endures is change. So we go over to the Book of Changes, and it says the thunder and wind, the image of duration. Thus the superior man stands firm and does not change his direction. Careful here. We're not being Taurus. Taurus is about being bullheaded and strong and obstinate. This is a very strong forward Taurus energy, but also Gemini that can adapt. So the Book of Changes says that yes, we need to keep enduring and keep on, and with the original 40, not flaunting these changes, not flaunting any successes, but just enduring. But the only thing that really endures is change. And so being the Gemini in this case, I know we've talked a lot about Gemini, but might as well go back to the astrology just really quick so I can highlight this. But the sun has just gone out of sidereal Cancer, but we still have the gaggle. I call it the gaggle because, Venus and Mercury, they actually, they go conjunct. And so this is a very strong energy. The mind is, and the mental aptitude of Mercury and the relationship and harmony and beauty of Venus, and those come together. It's a very beautiful aspect at 8:26 p.m. on Wednesday, right in the halfway point. And this is the same day we were supposed to have some emotional turmoils. But this energy is going to be magnificently more. And so this whole week makes for a beautiful week. Yeah, we've got some obstacles. Yeah, sure. We've got some energy that's kind of blocking, but you've got Sun going into Leo. You've got the Mars and Jupiter with the trine, and then the Grand Fire Trine, and then Mercury joins up with Venus, at least momentarily. It makes for a really beautiful week. And so don't make a big to-do about it, but this I-Ching reading just says keep enduring its duration and keep rolling with the changes. You're doing a great job because you had that heads up to be the best Gemini that you could be. And this is kind of the last deal where there's probably some more changes involved. We talked about the Uranus aspects. So let's give it a big summary here. The sun enters Leo. It's a fiery energy, and it aids in completing the post-eclipse struggle to deliverance. You notice how I incorporated the astrology, the dreambot, and also the I-Ching reading of Deliverance. Okay, so it's continuing on. And then the intervention, the previous was National Dream Center social media. This one, intervention, it will be posted tomorrow. Basically, the influences that we are continuing our transition from struggle to liberation. That was post-eclipse. And the solution is develop a strong endurance, but remain agile. So it's basically combining the Taurus energy, that's sidereal Taurus, which the moon is going to be in the latter half of the week, and Gemini, where Mercury meets Venus. And I think that's just perfect for exactly what the I-Ching reading told us to be. So being agile, but enduring through these changes, and deliverance is there. Deliverance is there, meaning that you have liberation is soon, maybe even this week, hopefully for you. And if you've been fighting all along, I hope that this is the biggest deliverance that anybody could ask for this week. All right. If you have any questions, post those below. Thank you for liking and your shares and all the comments. I appreciate everybody's comments. And have a great week. Let me know how it goes. Okay. We'll see you again. Hopefully have some time, but I'm expecting sometime in August to be more present and more videos, and I have some great plans. So hang with me and subscribe if you haven't. Share. Thank you, everybody. See you.